Get started here with our commission meeting, and we will start off with an invocation given by myself, and then we'll have a pledge of allegiance by our auditor, Shirlene Larson. Our dear Heavenly Father, we come before thee this time grateful for the blessings that thou hast bestowed upon us. We're grateful to be here in Box Elder County and for the freedoms that we enjoy here in this county and in this country. And we're grateful for those who serve us and ask thee to please bless and watch over all those who are serving us, wherever they may be, and in whatever manner of service they are providing to us. We ask thy Spirit to guide and direct us in thy service here today, that we can accomplish the business of the people and take care of those things that thou would need us to do. And we ask a blessing upon those who are not feeling well, and that thou can bless them as well. And we're grateful for the moisture that we have received, and ask thee to please make sure that thou temper the weather, that we don't experience any negative effects to it, but that we continue to receive moisture in an appropriate amount. We're grateful for that. And again, thank thee for all thou does for us, and say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. We'll take a motion to approve the minutes from December 20th and January 3rd.
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Summers, second from Commissioner Bingham. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. So we're taking care of that. Any former agenda items or any future agenda items we need to think about or talk about?
Not that I know.
Anything?
Not that I can think of right now.
Anything under former agenda items we need to deal with? I don't think there is. Okay. Emergency management issues. I know we don't have our emergency manager. Nothing else, Sheriff, right? Other than, do you know how flooding? We haven't seen it yet, right? We're still
We're good.
doing okay? Okay.
Kevin's right there.
All right. Oh, yeah, Kevin's, you got your pumps all ready, right? Okay. So we're set if we
Ready
start to
to
get the
go?
flooding. Okay.
Still
All right.
frozen.
I know they talked about that the other day. All right. So that takes us to,
I'm gonna talk about,
okay, go ahead.
okay. A couple weeks ago, we lost one of our former commissioners, Rich Van Dyke, and we were able to send some stuff to his widow, Sherry, and she just thanked us in a card. It just said, just a note to express the heartfelt thanks for the beautiful flowers arrangements sent to Rich's service. His time in the commission is one of his most memorable experiences. He will be missed by his family, friends, and his community. And I can just second that I was able to work with Rich for a long time, and I called him often when I was first a commissioner. So he's going to be missed not only there, but at his businesses and in his community for the things that he did. So we sure appreciate people that put their, service out there. And so I'm sure everybody else that knew Rich and worked with Rich can say the same thing to him. So thanks.
Thank you. All right, so now we have our Box Elder County employee recognition time. And we received several different nominations, but this one in particular stood out because I know as a commissioner for the last year, I've noticed this individual and how many hours he puts in. Sometimes I come down by the county building and he's the last one out. And so he's here for all kinds of hours and does an amazing job. So this month, January's Employee of the Month is Nate Adams. The person who nominated him said, I'd like to nominate Nate Adams at the auditor's office. Nate is always willing to help out when the pit of financial confusion gets too deep for me. I need to, and that can happen to all of us, and so we do appreciate that. He says, and I need help to get out of that pit. Nate is always willing to get my purchase order requests done quickly and has never given me a hard time when I throw one at him that has to be done immediately. I also believe Nate to have a strong work ethic. The reason I believe this to be true, other than seeing him work all day, is because nearly every time I try to do updates on the financial server after hours or on the weekends, Nate is on the system working. He's always pleasant to work with, and I appreciate his efforts. The auditor's office is full of great employees, and so therefore they want to nominate at this time Nate Adams. And it's coming from the IT department, thanking you for what you did. But it could come from any department. I'm sure in our county they all appreciate what Nate does. They would appreciate the auditor's office as well. But today we want to recognize Nate. So if Nate will come up forward, we'll recognize you here.
2, 1. Okay, one more, sorry. Okay, I'll send
She's
it.
taking 10 of them.
Oh, thank you. Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, go Nate.
See, now he's leaving, he's gonna go back to work again. So we really do appreciate Nate and what he does. He does a fantastic job, and like I said, it was neat to see that nomination come in, because I have seen Nate here all kinds of hours. I don't get to see on the server side when he's online, but I do know he works a lot, and we appreciate his efforts, so. And we look forward to the future. We've got some other great nominations in there, and we look to ask for anybody in the community and the county to put other nominations forward as the time goes forward, as you see these positive things happen. We'll go to item number 7, and with that, Commissioner Summers, I'll go to item number 7, support for the Box Elder Family Support Center.
It's come to our attention that some of the funding has been slipped through the Box Elder County Support Center. And after Representative Peterson came here, I think it was last commission meeting, I think he had a great idea to try to get a stopgap through. So it would be my thoughts that we would we got about 15,000 people that are on the outskirts that are in the county, and I think that if we can maybe give them $15,000 out of LA, whatever that is, PTC, to be able to help get their funding till the next, and hopefully Representative Peterson and those guys can get this through this next session. So if you know any of the representatives, and you need to contact them and see if they can help, because they do great work throughout our community. So I would make a motion to that effect.
Your motion is to take $15,000 from the LATCF to provide to the Box Elder Family Support Center. That's one per citizen, so. that's the
Second.
motion. We have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll take, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion passes, so we'll take care of that. All right, next item on the agenda, public interest presentation concerns 1145 tax penalty, Joanne Hathaway. Is Joanne here?
I don't think so.
Okay. I know with the change, we may have to reach out and make sure Joanne knows about. We did change the meeting, so hopefully Joanne found out, and we need to find out if she needs to be back on there. Next item, I think we do have Mike here. So Mike Pace, cooperative agreement number 2402 between Utah State University Extension and Box Elder County. So if you want to have a seat right there after you hand out your stuff, Mike. Additional reading information for you guys. Perfect.
That's hot off the press, so that's why I brought it down, and it wasn't part of it. So that's just an impact report that I gave to you guys. So on that,
Are these Boyd's cows? Just that.
I don't know, are they, boys?
They don't have cows.
Okay.
So on our yearly cooperative agreement, we try to get it out to you guys so that you guys could take a look at it. Just, I think in the email that we sent to you, kind of pointed out the changes, pretty much the same one that we've signed in the past or been asked to have you guys sign in the past. The only changes more or less are the dates from 2023 to 2024. On page 2, the bullet point number 5 is that reflects the budget that has been passed and you guys have adopted for the USU Extension Office for operation. And then you can see a breakdown of that adopted budget on page 4 of that agreement. And that's basically the changes that was made to it from 23 to 24. I
Okay.
don't know if you guys have questions or.
Any questions?
No, but I do have a statement. I got invited to go out to the turkey processing plant. Went out and watched them function with that for the youth, not only of this county, but other counties, and it was amazing what they're doing out there. Also, I've met with them a few times, but we have been invited by the Chamber of Commerce to have they have a career day at both high schools.
Yep.
And so I went and talked to these folks up there and also one of the members of their group, Laura Holmgren. So we're preparing to be represented in those 2 career days. So they do a lot of good. I appreciate the opportunity to work with them, so.
April 9th and April 17th, I believe, Box Elder and Bear River, so good opportunity.
Is it good? We'll
Yeah,
make sure
great.
I know Commissioner mentioned that. We're
I
planning on
just
doing
don't
it,
think
so.
we can appreciate enough what you guys do for not only our community, but for our youth. I mean, it's just a great program to be able to throughout the state, but I think Box Elder does an exceptional job compared to a lot of the counties, so we
Thank
appreciate
you.
you
I know
guys.
we've got some good employees, and, mention Laura, this impact report, that's kind of one of the things we ask her to put through, and, it doesn't cover everything that we do. It's kind of a snapshot of some of the cool things we've done and impacts we've made here over the last year and that, so we
Well,
appreciate
just so you know,
you guys' support.
we love the fact that the Extension Office participated in our Christmas tree program as well. We did this year where all the county, a lot of the departments made a Christmas tree, and you were right, your Extension officer's right there with us, making a really nice little farmer 4-H Christmas tree, which was kind of nice up there, so.
I'm
that
pretty sure Mike didn't do that.
I'm pretty sure, but I wanted to take it back to him and let him know.
Yeah, I'll
we
take it back
appreciate
and
them
let Laura and the.
participating in that and
Social
being
media
part
guys.
of that, so it was
thank you.
a good
I
thing.
I wasn't being rude, Mike.
I understand.
Make that Christmas tree, come on. I mean.
He saw us out of the turkey plant, so I know.
There you go. So, I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we pass the cooperative agreement USU 24-02.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion passes. We'll take
thank
care of getting that signed.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, and we're to Rod.
Rodney Bennett, Box Elder County Assessor.
Holy
This
cow, I
is-
don't hardly recognize you.
No, he doesn't look like it's easy to.
Something happened.
Don't look homeless anymore.
Oh, it's giving you a rough time, man.
This is just a formality. This is a big name, multi-county Paragon, Utah Mass Appraisal System. We call it PUMA. All this is a user agreement between the state funded CAMA system and our county. There is no cost for this. This is all financed through the Multi-County Appraisal Trust, with the exception of extra hours, which it talks about in there. We don't ever use the extra hours. We felt like we can get the stuff done in the hours, and that would be server time if we ever ended up needing it. But I've sent this to Steve to look it over. It's a pretty standard. It's just that a user agreement for our CAMA system.
Okay, any questions or discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve agreement 24-01, multi-county Paragon, Utah Mass Appraisal System.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a motion from Commissioner Bingham, second from Commissioner Summers to approve agreement 2401, multi-county Paragon, Utah Mass Appraisal System. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes, we'll take care of it.
You're gonna get it.
Yeah. Right here?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Sean Milne.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. All right, I've provided you with a handout for today's agenda item. You'll probably note that the last time I was here, I was razzed pretty good by Commissioner Bingham about not being brief enough. So today I've tried to be brief, and I've given you on your second page a set of recommendations.
Now, do you have minutes of that? I don't remember that.
We just
just
passed
approved
it.
The razzing part or me
We
giving
just
a
approved-
lengthy
We just approved those
presentation?
minutes.
I didn't see it in there.
You
That's
didn't
what I
see
said.
the part?
Oh,
where
well,
said
it
you
was a
wrapped
couple of
it?
meetings
See
ago.
that part, no.
Yeah, okay. So you have a list here for us.
I do. So I have some supporting documentation, having just provided this handout to Attorney Steve as well, or Hadfield, excuse me. You'll see an old resolution from the first time, or the initial time that this CEO board or County Economic Opportunity Advisory Board, again, they're advisory only, but the first and initial time that it was set up, I've got that resolution in there because Attorney Hadfield, I'm not sure if you guys need that with today and how a vote might conclude, if you want to make that really formal to put that in a resolution form for signature next time. But before you today, I have a couple of those supporting documents. Again, I also have some print-offs of the state regulations that govern the CEO board. But I've given you a one-pager of some reminders of what we need to accomplish. There's at least 5 members that must be a part of a CEO board. That's at least, it's not a maximum. Of the five, one each must have, you know, a representative for the county, a representative of a municipality within the county, someone from the public at large, someone representing workforce development, and someone representing the private sector. You'll see that I've noted that the terms need to be for 4 years, but because I'm going to be asking you, well, I am asking you today to reconstitute the whole board, because it's been a minute since we need to freshen it up, that maybe just as we go through and name the members, picking which ones would represent a 4-year term and which ones would represent a 2-year term. I also then note and have some supplemental documentation to support this, but you could add more members if there were certain demographics or industry clusters that you wanted to also have represented on this board. So below that, I just have some recommendations based on casual conversations I've had with each or several of you. And then there are some blanks where I would need you to fill in the gap, even if you were to accept some of those other recommendations that I've put forth for your consideration. So, any questions for me about either the program itself or the recommendations I'm proposing, or your own thoughts?
I would just say that I think we need to do the resolution and just do it for next time, but we'll hopefully support with these ones that you've went through. And I'd be happy, I'm happy, but I'd be able to serve on that board for the commissioner part of it. And then the mayor, I know Mayor Holmgreen from Tremont has reached out and said that he would serve on that board also. And then that basically takes care of everybody at large, so you can kind of pick and choose which you want to do 2 and 4 year. In case
We
people,
would need a member of the public commissioner, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, that's
but
right.
We would need at least a 5th member with that representation. So again, if I understand that you're making a motion to table
Yeah.
this for consideration further and to make sure next time we come forth,
Have
With
the
a
actual
vote.
list of who we want to vote for?
yeah,
Is that what we're
or
thinking?
yeah,
Okay. So do we even need a motion for that? We could just
No.
put it on the next
just
agenda?
put it on the next agenda.
That
and
we will
then-
have names specified.
Yep.
I mean,
And in case we don't know what we're talking about, this is still the $200,000 grant, the rural county grant from the state, that we have to have this board constituted, be able to have that and have access to, how much? At least another 600,000 for Part B?
so the Part B, and the three of you know, because you're governing board members, so I'm putting this in the audio record to note it, but you can also apply individually as a county for a Part B, old nomenclature, or the Rural Communities Opportunity Grant, RCOG now. But as Bragg governing board members, you'll recall that at several meetings ago, you'd given me direction to apply for that on behalf and through Bragg.
Right.
And I'm pleased to report to you that that was one of the highest ranking applications I received, one of the top 3, and so we were awarded the full value. I will be talking about that in a subsequent Bragg governing board meeting, but this just kind of gives you the heads up to that. But yes, you'd also need this group for applying for that RCOG on your own behalf as well.
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Are you comfortable preparing the,
I think so. Let me just ask so I understand. The resolution you gave me is for, is this different board than the resolution?
No, it's had some changes, Counselor, in the years since this original resolution was passed. And
So
again,
it's-
I wasn't sure if providing this just kind of gave you the reminder, the framework. And I want to thank the clerk's office for providing that to me.
So the
But if
board-
they had made a vote today, then did you want to put those names in such a resolution to be
Okay.
named parties?
So I guess my question is, the board that was set up by this prior resolution, is that still in existence, or is that? not
It
around?
is, but it needs to be repaired. It's kind of like a hole in the radiator and kind of a low tire, you
It's
know.
still,
it
it's
needs
still
some
there, it
freshen
just
up, but yeah.
hasn't been
So will
constituted.
this one that we're doing now replace that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm asking that I'm asking to fully renew the constitution of this board, constituted members, and to stagger the terms of those that you appoint.
and probably would be best to fit in the resolution, the list of, did you get a copy of the list of
Yeah, I
folks
did.
you want? So yeah, probably incorporate that. and-
So in the resolution,
the
do we want to
names.
dissolve the prior board?
No, I don't think so. Maybe just update.
Okay.
Because some of the things, like, it's no longer the CED board, because they got rid of economic development, now it's economic opportunity, because that's the, new term these days or something.
Okay.
Little things like that. Nothing is really substantive.
So if you can get them the office and updated information.
Okay.
Any other discussion we need to have?
Nope.
Okay, thank
Thanks,
you.
Phil.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, Commissioner Bingham, item B, letters of recognition for Charles Holmgren and Dave Forsgren.
Okay, the Charles Holmgren and Dave Forsgren term on the Bear River Water Conservancy District Board expired at the end of the year, and they were replaced with some new members, and we just wanted to take a moment and express our gratitude for their service. Usually when you talk about recognition, you talk about service in years. With these two gentlemen, it's decades. One served for almost 35 years and the other one for about 23.
Dave was 35 and Charles was 23, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we just wanted to recognize them, and actually, we have some letters here that we'll sign with the county commission and express our gratitude to them for their service.
So you want to do a motion to have the commission issue letters of recognition to
Yeah,
these
I'll
two?
make that motion.
And I'll
We have a
second
motion,
it.
we have a motion from Commissioner Bingham, a second from Commissioner Summers to issue letters of recognition for the service of Charles Holmgren and Dave Forsgren on the Bear River Water Conservancy District. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will get those signed and out to those gentlemen and appreciating their service.
I would like to thank Chrissy for writing the letter. That way it was grammatically correct. So I appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Next item, letter of support for Project Lifeline Mobility.
A year ago, they came in front of us and just asked if they could have our support for the project. They supply a couple vans and do seniors and disabilities, and that's all we're doing is just giving support, and the stuff comes through Bragg to be able to help them get that done. So they do a lot of good work inside of our community for people that don't have bus access or any other type of things like that. So that's all we need to do. I don't know if we have the letter. Do we have the letter? Okay. So I'd make a motion that we sign a letter of support for the Project Lifetime Mobility.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second?
A second, so motion from Commissioner Summers, second from Commissioner Bingham to give a letter of support for the Project Lifetime Mobility. Any discussion? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay. This is more just for, well, actually, we do need to take a
Yeah, we need to
motion on
take a
this.
motion.
February 7th, there's a conflict for the commissioners being in town on that date. So the plan is at this point to hold one commission meeting during the month of February. Rather than having a commission meeting on February 7th, we would just hold the February 21st meeting, would be the one county commission meeting for February. If we could get a motion on that.
I'll make a motion that we hold our one county commission meeting in February on the 21st.
Okay, so we have a motion to just have one county commission
Second.
meeting. February 21st, Commissioner Bingham, second from Commissioner Summer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. So we'll just have one for February, so. Let's see. Then the next one, item E here is letter of disagreement about the changes from, this is a letter we need to get out fairly quickly here before the end of the month. There's an open public information. It has to do for the, it has to do with the NACs for the, now, I'm trying to remember what NAC stood for. It has to do with the use of lands
Right.
in the United States with, and this would be sent to a combination of the SEC and the stock, and the New York Stock Exchange, telling them that we disagree with the concept of using public or private lands and giving specific dictates to companies and people on how they should be using those lands in order to be a publicly traded company. I do know our state treasurer,
Came to our
Marlo Oaks.
attention through State Treasurer Marlo Oaks. He was on top of this, and it's just another way that big business is gonna go around the things that the people on the ground want to do, and they were going to buy up and do different things and be able to use it through the stock exchange to mess with public lands. So he brought it to our attention, and most of the counties right now are preparing letters to go against what they want to do with it on the stock exchange, so.
Give our public opinion.
Wasn't
as a
it
county.
public and private lands?
Oh, yeah.
Public and private lands. It's-
Anything
yeah, it
had
would
to do
affect
with
both.
lands. Yep.
And
So,
it'd just be our county saying that we disagree and we think that it's better to leave it up to the counties and the local folks that own the land to decide what to do with that, so.
I'd make a motion, we get a letter of disagreement about the changes of the policies for the NACs United States with the stock market as constituted.
Okay?
Second.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Summers, second from Commissioner Bingham for a letter of disagreement about the changes of the policy from the NAC in the United States. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we'll get that letter drafted and signed. All right, let's go to Scott Lyons, ordinance 591.
Right. Scott Lyons, Community Development Department. It's a pretty hefty ordinance. It is an update to Chapter 6-1, which is our subdivisions chapter in the County Land Use Management and Development Code. So last year, 2023, the legislature passed a bill that required, changed subdivision reviews significantly. And we already had a couple items in the subdivision code that we wanted to address, and so we thought, okay, we have basically a deadline that the state said that we have until February of 2024, so next month to get this adopted. So we figured we'd take the couple issues that we had with it and the requirements from the state and put it all in one amendment, and we've been working on that for the last year or so. We've run it through the Planning Commission a couple times, and in December, we held the public hearing on that and got some additional feedback. There were two portions of it that were not part of the state stuff, just part of our own changes that the Planning Commission wants to continue working on, so they kind of held that out of this ordinance. So this ordinance primarily is state stuff with a couple additional things. I'll just hit the highlights for you, and if you have any questions on anything else, feel free to ask. So one of the things it does is requires the formation of a development review committee. So this development review committee, historically, subdivisions have been reviewed by various county departments, so we just said the Development Review Committee will be those departments. So that includes the Planning Department, our engineer, surveyor, GIS, fire marshal, building official, and road superintendent. One of the interesting things is the state says the legislative body, so the county commission, is no longer allowed to approve subdivisions. So subdivisions will no longer come to you, they will be approved by the Development Review Committee. So anything, and this is, the idea is the separation of administrative and legislative, and if you want something to be enforced in the subdivision process, then you would do it in the legislative, having that applied into the code. Once it's in the code, then it's administrative, and that Development Review Committee would review it and administer it.
So that kind of means that if we have questions, we need to be contacting you and understanding it before it gets to that point?
Well,
Correct.
we need to get it in writing before that becomes a problem, because that's the state statute, the plain fact that we can't do it afterwards. So if you think things are gonna be a problem, and that's my whole problem when they pass this, is that they're basically circumventing some of the systems to be able to be put in place. So it makes me nervous that they're continuing to take us out of the mix. And the state is basically going to start zoning things without us having a,
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll see where that goes, but that's definitely a topic. We're keeping our eye on probably 15 different
just gonna
land
say
use
at
bills
least
this
15
this
different
session.
bills.
Along those lines, something because we agree with what you're saying. So especially on subdivisions where there are improvements, because those improvements will ultimately be turned over to the county. So we wanted, after having the Development Review Committee look at the
Developmental
subdivision
agreement.
and be fully comfortable with it. Per code, the legislative body can't approve it, but they can sign off on it. So that is how we've kind of set that up is we would still want essentially a commissioner to sign that plat and improvement agreement because it is something that is turned over to the county and you are the
Which means then you have costs coming down the road to maintain and things of that nature?
correct, yeah. The upfront costs are covered by the developer, but the ongoing maintenance is covered by by the taxpayers, so.
Steve, what would you say about putting that into the developmental agreement to be able to make sure that those things happen per, I mean, because right now, like I said, we usually come through and sign the plat plus the developmental agreement, but this is basically taking the plat away from us. So we've got to do something to be able to back the county up in that aspect.
You don't have a development agreement every time, but
Not every time.
Not
So
every
the
time.
proposal is that the decision-making body, or I should say the legislative body, who represents the county, would still be signing off on that, but they would have to be essentially trusting the Development Review Committee that all the Ts are crossed and Is are dotted.
which is a little strange because anytime the county enters a contract, it comes across the table and that's just another contract.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know if we need to make sure that every subdivision comes with a developmental contract. I mean, I understand some of them don't, but I would honestly say that maybe that's something that we need to look at to make sure that every subdivision has a developmental contract, just a CYA with the county when it comes to that.
So what you're saying, Scott, then, is you're gonna be addressing this in planning commission meeting?
So Planning Commission gets to review the preliminary plat. And that's another thing is total reviews are now limited to, you get 4 reviews. And if the reviews can't be handled within 4 reviews, then the developer can proceed as he wishes. So we have to really be on, this Development Review Committee has to really be on top of ensuring that we do the review and turn it around and get it to their people, their engineer, et cetera. And we've also been limited on time. So the preliminary phase, we get 1 review, and we have to have it done in 15 business days. And then the final plat, we get up to 3 phases, 3 review cycles, and we have 20 business days on each one of those review cycles. So forewarning to anyone who's here in, Kevin, you name it, anyone who's on that Development Review Committee is now, county staff does a pretty good job of turning reviews around fairly quickly. We've never had any complaints here. Unfortunately, at the state level, someone who has a complaint, usually it's from a big city taking their sweet time doing the reviews, and they decide to, instead of handle it locally, handle it in a statewide fashion, and we get stuck with.
That's why they said they swatted it with a nuclear bomb and just let the rest of us have to file in.
Yeah.
The only good thing about this is that Representative Peterson has put legislation this time that we kind of turned it back on the state to where the state's going to have to start doing things in a timely manner because of things that the state are involved in can sometimes take up to 2 years now. So
If this bill passes.
yeah, if they'll pass it, but we'll see what happens.
So there's not an ethics problem if when you get this information and you see this coming down the road that you can't email us and say, hey, heads up, this is what's going on, or?
No.
Because if we have a time frame, it'd sure be nice if we had information, so we understood what's going on.
Yeah, you can be kept in the loop, you just aren't allowed to approve it anymore.
Yeah, I'd sure like to be kept in the loop.
That's what I'm saying. We've got to get something in statute before to be able to somewhat take care of this problem. So anyway.
So that's the bulk of that is state stuff. So as far as outside of the stuff that is state, to hit a couple highlights of things that we've noticed over the years, just trying to streamline the process, is we require a geotechnical and soils report for any subdivision over 4 lots in size or anything that has county improvements. And that's just to check for soil stability for the construction of homes, as well as ensuring that any future county roads are designed so that they will be, you know, long-lasting.
Are we gonna put drainage on that now? Because we talked about that.
Yeah, and that's included. So
Okay.
previously, all the code said previously was that a geotechnical study was required. And we've updated that based on our engineer's input, that it basically spells out the requirements of what is to be included in that geotechnical and soil study,
Okay.
which includes the drainage. So another one, we've been contacted by the USPS, and they want the developer to work with them directly on mailbox placement on larger subdivisions. Instead of doing, you know, they've moved on from doing mailboxes on each home, and it's usually when you enter a new community, there's a community, you know, style mailbox that they can pull up to and hit all the slots and move along. So that's been added in there. Bear River Health Department requirements. So we had some requirements previously with regard to sewer, septic, and water that really spelled out in a lot of detail that was unnecessary and outdated. And so we've just reduced that to just say you are required to work with the health department to get, because ultimately it's them who does the review of those things and gives the thumbs up. So it just cuts all of that potential outdated or potentially future outdated information out and just allows them to go to the
Does
health
it give the health
department.
department a timestamp too?
No. That just falls
That's
on.
what I
Yeah.
was wondering, because
Does that affect our timestamp? If we were waiting for them?
we have to get ours. but
No, because we consider their collaboration with the health department to be on their time, not on our time.
Right.
Okay.
They don't have a timestamp.
And then security for improvements was previously security for public improvements. So when there are improvements going into a new road, going into a subdivision, new storm drainage, something like that, new water systems, it was previously just security for public improvements. So if it was proposed to be a private road, there was no security in place that allowed the county to inspect to ensure that the future residents of that were actually getting a road built to the specifications proposed in the plans. So now security would be allowed for both public and private improvements. And as well, another update, and this one did come from the state. Previously, we had in there that we were requiring 120% of the cost of the improvements as security. And it's been changed that we can only require up to 110%. And that 10% is, so they install the improvements, as they're installed and inspected, we release that security back to the developer, and then hold on to that 10% as a warranty for a 1-year warranty period. And then after that 1-year warranty, we go out for a final inspection to ensure that all the infrastructure is held up appropriately over that year. If it has, we'll release that 10%. If it hasn't, then we can hold on to that either until the developer finishes it, or if the developer has skipped town, then we can use that 10% to make any repairs as needed.
Pardon me for saying this, but it sounds like our legislature's full of developers.
Fair deduction.
Yeah.
So those are the highlights. I don't know if you have any other questions. But yeah,
Remind me one more time, who's on that land use authority that we're talking about here?
the Development Review Committee is the planning department, engineer, surveyor, GIS, fire marshal, building official, and road supervisor.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And all of them are reviewed by the attorney's office as well, and that portion of the code remains in there.
Okay.
You wanna,
All right, and so if we pass this, we still can make the changes we're talking about, right?
Right.
Even if we pass this as is,
Yeah, as long as we comply with state law, we can,
still be fine? Okay.
I'll make a motion that we
Alright.
pass ordinance, 591, text amendment, chapter 6-1 subdivision.
Have a motion,
Second.
have a second. A motion, Commissioner Summers, second from Commissioner Bingham. Pass ordinance 591, text amendment to chapter 6-1 subdivisions. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
All right. Jenica,
If you're looking at any of those bills, holler at us, Scott. If you see any of those things coming up, holler at us.
hey, Jenica.
Jenica Stander, HR Director. Before you commissioners today, I have 4 employees who have extenuating circumstances regarding their medical care and have requested early HSA payments. They do sign an agreement that if they leave before the first paycheck in June, they will pay that money back. And if you have any questions other than the individuals, if you want to discuss the individuals, we'll need to go into closed session to do that.
So when you say early, when do you normally make those payments?
The first paycheck in June.
First paycheck in June?
Yep. So half in January, half in June.
And it's just another one of them good benefits for good employees, so.
Yeah, it helps them out, especially with a $3,200 deductible.
Yep.
So,
Any discussion to approving our early HSA payment agreements?
I'll make a motion that we approve early HSA payment agreements.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Bingham, second from Commissioner Summer to approve early HSA payment agreements. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay, that brings us to
Jenica.
public comment. Do we have any
got?
public comment forms? Okay. Looks like we have one. And take care of this real fast. See if I can get all these little red signatures on here real quick. Hopefully you can find all the red stickers. Okay, so public comment is made clear here. Those wishing to make public comment need to sign in, which they've done. Follow the rules outlined. They have 1 3-minute period, regardless of the number of items they wish to discuss or address. And speakers shall address their comments to the county commission only. This is the time to be heard. It will not be a back and forth dialogue with the commissioners. Speakers then may file copies of their remarks and supporting information with the county clerk's office. The clerk's office will make that information available to the county commissioners. So with that, we only have one individual who signed up, Deanna Hardy. Would you like to come forward, please?
Okay, Deanna Hardy, Brigham. When Benjamin Franklin exited the Constitutional Convention, he was asked what type of government they were given. He replied, "A republic, if you can keep it." Our founding fathers did not know how long our republic form of government would last. Thomas Jefferson said, "Experience has shown that even under the best forms of government, those entrusted with power have, in time and slow operations, perverted into tyranny." I have been coming to these commission meetings for over 13 years now, and it does not matter who sits in your present seats, the agenda is the same: to grow the size and cost of government, allowing socialism, fascism, Marxism into our government, which is contrary to a republic and an enemy to liberty. We went from 20 million plus when I first started attending to now 63 million in 2024. This is unsustainable. The Bear River Association of Governments is one of those socialist programs and a part of the regional plan that is unconstitutional and should not be in our republic form of government. The Family Support Center is another socialist program that should not be in our republic. It is wrong to redistribute the people's wealth, taking from one and giving to another that did not earn it. This program can and should be in the private sector, so the citizens are not forced to be charitable, which it is not charity when it is forced. The Box Elder Committee of Liberty petitions our commissioners to defend our republic from foreign and domestic enemies of socialism, fascism, Marxism, which have entered our republic form of government. Defund both the Bear River Association of Governments and the Family Support Center. Cease the creation of the unconstitutional Rural Economic Development Board. The government should not be involved in business or enter into any public-private partnerships, which is fascism. Again, it is contrary to the republic form of government. We are a free market state, allowing equal opportunity for all citizens. I just wanted to comment on your discussion which you had with Scott Lyons. What is happening is they're transferring this power to committees and boards. They're taking it away from our elected representatives, and this is not correct. So you need to nullify what the state is doing. They are acting out of bounds. They are usurping power that they cannot be doing. You need to nullify, and that our representatives know this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there's no other public comment that's been submitted. So let's see, we're taking care of warrant register, personnel actions. We don't need a closed session for anything. I didn't get a chance to talk to you, okay? So with that, I'll take one final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a second, all in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.
I'm gonna make my 1 o'clock meeting. That's awesome. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome.
See you tomorrow.
Yes, bright and early. What?
She said between 7 and 7:30 on the text I just got.
Yeah. Is it a more time to do that? Okay. Yeah, I figured it is.